team in North America, and we'll see how they fare.
And even on the other side, I mean, Rogue haven't had the best start for their major as well. They lost 0-3 against Xset, so getting swept has got to be painful, especially coming into your next few matches. They went to Game 5 against Plot Twist, but they did end up winning that series, so they have a little bit of confidence coming into this one against SSG, but we'll see where that takes them.
And we'll see how SSG can do here on offense. That's a good bump by Reynolds. This ball just bouncing in the box. Arsenal a bit late to it. Defense with no boost deals with it for Rogue. Very interesting to see how a team like Spacestation Gaming respond after dropping a series where it feels like maybe they shouldn't have. Obviously, it's no time for panic. They're in a fine spot, but definitely not the expectation when you come into their lineup, the matchups they had today.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a weird start overall to, I think, the major in general with our expectations. I think, Rogue, SSG, and the previous one, KCP and Envy, I mean, they had a rough start as well. And it just makes for more sloppy Rocket League, I think, which is amazing. Because when I say sloppy, I mean, like, the defenses are just a little bit all over the place. Communication might not be as crisp, but that gives space for people like Cybical to go crazy, do some crazy flip resets, go off the backboard, and it overall just makes things way more fast-paced.
Yeah, and this shot does go off the post. Space Station definitely getting the better of the defense, but First Killer saw an open net there. Unfortunately, didn't have any boost to follow up as Rogue finally move on to some offense here. Toronto, that's a great pass over to Kronovi, but blocked out by Arsenal. Still First Killer on the hunt for Rogue as he takes away a bit of boost. Space Station, we always talk about them and how many different weapons they have. Well, here's Redos with an open shot. He can drop it down, and First Killer can't get back in time.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Turo's cam right now. He's got to get a better 50 versus Arsenal in that corner. Arsenal just dunked everything that Turo had in that hit. It went all the way across to Redos with a nice little easy drop down. And again, we're looking at Turo. You need to force a 50, let your teammates get back in time. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't, stall any seconds on the clock.
Space Station was knocking on the door for quite some time. Now 4 shots to their name. Turo gets a good 50 here, but with no boost. Oh, no, the miscommunication from Kronovi and Turo. And that's going to leave a wide open space in the backfield. Disaster for Rogue.
Oh, no, this is not the way you want to concede a goal where you're popping it over your striker. Turo actually went for a hit, and Kronovi flipped earlier on, and the shot got taken away. And First Killer's like, what am I supposed to do? Both of my teammates didn't get a touch on the ball. I got to rush back, but SSG, they're going to punish. And overall, I mean, the defense from Rogue really starting to slip away just in game 1.
It's got to be the communication as well. Turo, I think everyone knew that he had no boost there off the kickoff, but had to have known Kronovi was coming. That call either came late or never came at all, and unfortunately a double commit leaves First Killer in a tough spot. A very weak goal given up by Rogue, at least for the second one, and Space Station better for it. Reynolds quickly downfield here, still trying to put on the pressure for Space Station, who now building upon this lead, and it feels like Rogue a little bit slow to break out of their end, as Turo does get a fortunate bounce off, does get a flip into it. First Killer picks it up. Kronovi really can't go for this with the amount of boost he has. His team was pushed so far up and then pays for it with his life.
Oh, nice little hit from Arsenal. I like the weight on that play to let the ball drop, and then use the bounce to get some more power. And still SSG are lurking for that next goal. Turo gets the save. He's the last man back again. He's gotten, I'd say, the responsibility of those last 2 goals. First of all, hitting away from Kronovi and then being stuck in that corner and need to force a better 50. So maybe he's a little bit tilted. We got to be patient. And First Killer, the 1v1 display, they're picking things up correctly, but it's a little bit slow.
Well, I was about to talk about the weapons. The both teams have a lot of weapons for offense. You've got, for Rogue in particular, Turo, and then, of course, First Killer are really the 2 players that are always talked about for this team. And First Killer displaying that type of skill, beating 2 players by himself. That's the type of skill that you would expect from. But right now, I think the defense from Rogue is very, very slow to respond. From Space Station, it's not even like Space Station are playing at some super speed pace right now. They're just playing and putting the ball so awkward for Rogue. And I think the defense a bit unorganized from Rogue at the moment.
It's just a little bit awkward. I feel like when Rogue goes for a touch, their teammates aren't even expecting it. And that really just comes down to communication. And then Reynolds almost gets that one in the double tap off the backboard. It was a difficult angle. He still put it on net. But First Killer, the rotation did come through. And they've picked up a little bit on the timing. And they've been able to sustain some of this pressure from SSG.
Yeah, but they've made 8 saves so far here in this game, and the majority of them just came there in that little offensive stint. It feels like Rogue, I've got to get a hold on the organization right now. I don't know if it's the communication, the rotations are just off, there's no boost. It could be a little bit of everything for Rogue right now, but it just seems so awkward on the defensive side, and Space Station are really not pressed to make anything happen here. Again, this ball just bouncing towards net, and Rogue scrambling it to clear it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall this is going to come down to spacing, but, you know, SSG, this was a strong performance from them, from somebody who did not have the best start to the day. You know, they ended up losing against Alpine, but they are not looking too tilted in this series. Very clean gameplay from them. We'll see if Rogue have what it takes to step it up in the next one.
Yeah, I'm seriously concerned for the Rogue defense right now. Look, Space Station, I think, played up to par. I don't think that was the best game for Space Station. It was definitely not the worst game. They looked very comfortable. But for Rogue, I hate to harp on it, but the defense, it just seemed really confused. It was almost like, no, the other guy's going to get it. No, I think Kronovi's going to get it.
Exactly.
No, I think First Killer's going to get it. No, I think Turo's there. And no one was there. So I don't know if it's the communication issue or the trust just isn't there or that there's too much trust, clearly. Yeah. And it was just, obviously, something has broken down for Rogue. So I think for me, if I'm on this team, right, I'm going, okay, look, that was very clearly a bad first game. We need to take a deep breath. We know, look, this was not our typical play style. Let's communicate. Let's get the comms going. This very clearly they're not. And let's jump into this next game in more of a play style that we know how to play. Because clearly, again, this was not the Rogue team that I expected coming out in game 1.
Yeah, and I think the biggest fix for Rogue is going to be the spacing issue. A lot of times, like you were mentioning, Corelli, they don't know who's going to go for it, and you catch them in the same position, multiple players just in the same space, and that makes it so difficult because communication is the most important aspect, and if you don't have that locked down, then you're going to end up double committing, and if you want to prevent that, just space and use all of that positioning on the field, get all the way across. That way there's almost no chance to double commit, and you can go for some longer passes across the pitch, that'll work really well. And we'll see if they end up implementing that. And an important thing to notice too is Turo. He made a lot of mistakes in the previous game, almost a double tap there. He made a couple of mistakes in the previous game. He left, he's changed his car, okay? The color scheme is different. Maybe it's the placebo. I believe it's gonna work.
And it looks quite clean, but you don't get any points for style, as Rogue need to come out with a bit more of a commanding presence on the field. Turo, that's a good challenge for him. Kronovi can't catch up to it. A big bang from Reddles. Typical doesn't get the touch. Rogue trying to slow things down. Arsenal shot is going to be off the crossbar and in. Just knock under it, and a 1-0 lead to Space Station.
And these goals that Space Station are getting aren't the prettiest looking things. I mean, this one was a nice little shot off the crossbar, but Turo, he wasn't even in the back of the net. You'd think if he had been more positioned in a safer spot, an easy clear would have come out. But instead, he was too aggressive. Arsenal just has to put one on from pretty far out, and it's going to be 1-0 for Space Station.
Another rough start for Rogue. He gained some sort of confidence in this game. First Killer maybe wanted that one on target. Thought maybe he was going to get challenged. Reddles there to clear it off his own back wall. See if Rogue can lock in Space Station here. That's a missed touch from Arsenal. Typical, forced to just pop it up his back wall, and a great way to clear it out from his own end. Does get the challenge. Kronovi still trying to keep it at midfield. That was a good challenge from Crow. As Rogue looking poised to stay on offense here. Kronovi again getting another touch. First Killer, very weak shot towards the net. Kronovi doing everything to force this ball through, willing it through the defense. As Typical does pick it up, but only for a moment.
Oh, and look at the defense from Space Station. It is very clean. I've been watching Arsenal's perspective. He's constantly looking around to see where his teammates are, which is something I never saw on anybody from Rogue. The awareness from Space Station to know where their teammates are, and to know basically when to commit versus just stay back and be patient and let your teammates get that boost.
Yeah, you can see the difference in defense. Very organized from Space Station. Even when things get a little dicey for them, there's always someone there to pick up the ball, get behind it, prevent just the free and easy shot from Rogue. This could be one for Crow, though. Is this the right shot?
Ooh.
First Killer bumps the man in net, and it turns out to be an open net.
Oh, man. If they're organized, all you need to do is just implement one demo. First Killer hunts out Reddles, and then he stays in the corner, too. He couldn't even recover in time if he wanted to. First Killer, good initiative, and Rogue strike back.
That was true devastation there. Not only the bump into the corner, but then Reynolds lands on first killer, and he couldn't get his bearings quick enough. That's some good offense from Rogue. We got to give them credit. We've given them a hard time here. They looked a lot better in this game. They've stayed a lot more on offense here, where they've been a lot more dangerous. And Space Station, while they have been organized, they've been broken. Let's see if they get back onto offense here. First killer has to deal with it off his own back wall. Turo dunked by Typical, dangerous ball. Typical goes for it again. And it's first killer who has to make the save. Still a closer game for Rogue, and I think they're at least happy with their performance so far. At least compared to game one.
Yeah, some more physical plays too from both teams. You can see SSG trying to respond in their own way with those demos. And this is where SSG's offense is going to get tested. Now that Rogue have cleaned things up a little bit, we're going to need more creativity out of SSG. They're not going to be given those free opportunities that we saw in game one.
And here's a flip reset from Turo. He did have it. Good defense, though, by Reynolds. And like you said, Turtle, I absolutely agree. I don't think Space Station played, the most offensive game. Yeah. Even in game one, I even said it felt like it was a pretty par game for Space Station Gaming. Now that Rogue has picked up the pace, Space Station actually seemed to be a little bit more uncomfortable here in this game, and they're feeling a lot more pressure as first killer didn't have enough boost. Typical forced to just throw it towards the midfield. See if Rogue can put something together. Crow carrying it across. Got by two players of Space Station. Still Rogue on offense here. And a good demo comes out from Turo, but a great block from Arsenal to slow things down.
Yeah, and I've been impressed with the mechanical difference that we're seeing in game two out of Rogue too. You've got Turo going for flip resets off the backboard. Kronovi had a solid air dribble earlier, and first killer is just being as annoying as possible, which is the best position for him. Rogue, I mean, all three of them looking better, still tied up, but they definitely have most possession here.
Let's see, as Space Station have been forced to make 10 saves here in this game. There's been 12 shots from Rogue to the 4. Space Station, 2 demos come out. It was Kronovi on Typical and Arsenal on Kronovi, but Arsenal's going to get a second touch and no one to be found for Rogue.
The accuracy, and Arsenal also got that bump. Maybe somebody could have recovered in time had he not gotten it, but Arsenal off the ceiling, right into the corner of the goal. There's 16 seconds left. That's the perfect time to put one in.
And it's on Turo again. Still can't get up to the Arsenal shots. And now up to Rogue. Can they fight back here in the final 10? Reynolds going to try and put it away. Almost gets a second touch down into the net. Here comes Rogue. Can they march down the field in the final 5? It's going to be Crow. That's not the best clear. Goes straight to Typical. He's looking to kill it into the Rogue corner. First killer is going to have to pull a miracle to bring this one out, and he won't be able to. Space Station very late in game 2 sneak away with it. And again, Turtle, I don't know if this was the best Space Station gaming I've ever seen, but they get away with it here in game 2.
Hey man, I mean, it's enough. That's the thing. It's perfectly fine for SSG and their defense so long as they can hold on for just a little bit. You know, they kept it close. A couple of opportunities from Rogue looked really good. Besides that demo play, there were some really good mechanics that I mentioned earlier that I was impressed with. Kronovi going for some air dribbles, Turo flip resets off the backboard, but SSG were there to block them. And then it came down to Arsenal. 2 huge plays that I would say pretty much were just him by himself, really, off the ceiling. This one was crazy, getting that demo and opening up space. So if they can just rely on Arsenal to do all the work and maintain their defense, I think SSG might take this in just a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, they are very much poised to, now sitting 2-0 in the series. And for Rogue, again, this was a lot better, but you put up 12 shots here in this game. You force out 10 saves from your opponent, and you still can't break them. I mean, even with that amount of saves, it's showing that you're putting shots at least on target, and it's forcing the defense to respond. And we had talked about it a little bit. Space Station definitely looked pressed in the defensive side, stood tall, and I think that was a great testament to having a team like Space Station who not only, I mean, I think obviously everyone knows they can get the job done on offense, but when they do it on defense in a very tough game where they feel a lot of pressure, I think that speaks more about this team as we get deeper here into this major, even if it wasn't the best game in the world from Space Station.
Well, I mean, my biggest takeaway too from the previous match or the previous game was watching Arsenal's perspective and seeing how efficient he was with boost. And granted, there were so many moments where Rogue were starving him out. They would take his corner boost, even take his pads. But Arsenal kept his composure, never double committed, and was just patient to go for his challenging. The decision-making was beautiful. He knew when to go for the 50, even whenever he was starved out. And that's pretty much all of SSG. Through this pressure, through the, 12 shots from Rogue, not once did we see a double commit. And now Arsenal in the back of the net. This is the decision-making I'm talking about when I mentioned holding it down on defense.
Little in and out save from Arsenal, and typical now. Moving downfield into the Rogue corner, still trying to force it across the net, but first killer there to pick things up for Rogue. Rogue continuing the trend of looking better as they are able to break out for their end, not get locked in by Spacestation like they did in game 1. This is a dangerous ball though. Reddles met by first killer. It's typical trying to pick it up down the sideline into the Rogue corner. Arsenal picks it out from the midfield, but it goes right back out to Kronovi, who just launches it straight at Reddles. Rogue still trying to find that pressure that they did before, but this time convert. Spacestation, good passing play to at least break out from their own end. Put the pressure on Rogue to respond. Here's first killer. Couple of ugly touches from both sides here in the corner. Everyone kind of, the entire server was actually in the corner there at one point.
Yeah, those are my favorite moments too, where everybody's bunched up, and it's not like anybody's double committing. That's just kind of how the rotations end up being. Yeah.
There's a couple nasty touches in there. People were trying to make up for it. Here's Arsenal. Oh, we had typical in the midfield, but Kronovi removes that option, and Reddle's still going to get a second touch. Still scoreless. Up on halftime here, and typical just takes a quick shot, testing the keeper and first killer. He was paying attention. Good demo on Kronovi, but it's Turo to pick things up for Rogue to buy time for the respawn. First killer now. Rogue the first to strike. It's a very slow, high-flying ball from Typical. First killer now up. What can he do with it? And didn't get the touch he wanted.
Seems like it's a little bit of an off game too for first killer. Maybe the whole series has been weird because we expect better mechanics as Reddles. Was he coming out of the net and saving his flip?
He went for the bump on the man and went in and out of the net and almost got the shot. That would have been a top
I wish we could have
seen
one. Yeah, that would have been so nice. That's a very unique play, especially when you come out the net. The timing has to be perfect when that ball comes across.
Here's Spacestation. They're in a good spot. Unfortunately, maybe not the best touch there from Arsenal. Defense from Rogue all over it. Great touch from Rogue to at least break that first defender. And Turo now trying to keep this one alive for Rogue. Still scoreless and not a lot of shots from both sides. 2 from Rogue. They got those early on in about the first minute or so, and 3 from Spacestation Gaming. Turo has Kronovi under him. And again, not the best touch. Nobody could do anything with it from Rogue.
Yeah.
Both first killer and Kronovi backed off.
When Rogue are going for this solo play setup, well, they're gonna try and pop the ball up essentially for somebody like first killer who has crazy mechanics to go for an unreal play that's maybe not expected. But the weird thing is the mechanics are super off. We'll see him jump up in the air, not get the flip reset he wants, and end up just giving away possession right away for SSG. Not the best looking solo plays out of Rogue. Maybe involve some more passing because individually you can't hold up against that defense.
Time ticking down. A minute left here in game 3. Spacestation just need one. It was Typical. Unfortunately, couldn't get around a good bump on first killer. Arsenal does try and flick it past. Turo has no boost and was forced to give away to Typical to push it down the line. Reddles, this one dangerously comes across. Arsenal's there, and he slips it in into the corner, and a 1-0 lead with 41 seconds for Spacestation.
We've seen this multiple times. It's Turo last back. He has to be in a better position. He should have stayed far post to get that touch. It rolled just over the corner, and of course, Arsenal is in position, ready to strike.
It's been Arsenal versus Turo in the last 3 goals, and Arsenal is 3-0 at the moment. Kronovi looking for Turo in the midfield. It's up to first killer now. Takes the first touch. Has some space to work with. Got everyone on the line. Turo's going to take a shot. It was wide. That was a huge moment for Rogue, and Spacestation get the clear away.
Yeah, it was a super awkward positioning from all 3 players. It seemed like they were in the same exact spot. Still got the save against First Killer, who has pretty solid dribbling skills, so I'm surprised we didn't see one then. The final 10 seconds, though, I don't think Rogue have what they wanted. There's still some good possession, but I don't think it's enough.
First Killer pops it up. It's going to be Turo if he can get there, and he does, but not soon enough. Spacestation Gaming going to take him down in 3-0 fashion.
Oh my goodness, it wasn't even like the most dominant SSG we've ever seen. It was just absolutely composed. And I have got to respect so much of SSG on the defensive side. While we didn't see anything crazy on offense, we weren't seeing flip resets everywhere, or Arsenal maybe going off the ceiling with a flip of his own. While he did go for a double tap off the ceiling, it was nice. But you know, it was very, very calm from SSG, and we didn't see double commits. They locked it down on defense, and whenever they got 1 or 2 opportunities, they were there to strike. Like when Turo was out of position that one time, of course, Arsenal is ready and prepared to punish, and that was really the whole thing of the game, was punishment from SSG.
Yeah, punishment, finesse as well from Arsenal in the shooting department, and solid defense. I think I like the word. You know, they were very calm, and I think they were very cooperative as well. I felt like they were on the same page on defense, and they were bending and not breaking, especially against Rogue with the amount of offense they felt in Game 2. So for Space Station, they can walk away happy with this series, a 3-0 win over Rogue. We've got more North American Rocket League coming up. Stay with us.